Vip, just first blush, how much does changing one coach or a couple coaches make a difference for a football team?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this because I I'm of somebody of the belief that I think Jay Bateman is putting players in a position schematically to do the right thing. Now, why they're not executing, that's a different story. I think that a lot of this team's problems goes back to the culture in the locker room, and from talking with people around the program, like this team thought they were going to be in the national championship conversation, regardless of what Mac Brown says after they start losing some games, and all of a sudden you start changing your expectations. And this team, from what I've been told, this team was walking around this summer like they were going to be in the national championship conversation. And we saw pretty quickly against Virginia Tech how off base that was and how off base that reality was with this team. So I think that this team has a lot of problems that it needs to address first in the locker room. The problem is you're going the end of year 3, nothing has changed with that culture. So I think obviously you have to make a change. That's why Jay Bateman isn't coming back next year, because somebody has to be held accountable from the room of the people who are making over $1 million a year to try to get this thing figured out. But I think the problem for Carolina football, it goes way deeper than a defensive coordinator and just switching. I know like a lot of fans want like blood when a team underperforms as much as this team has. I don't think something as simple as changing the defensive coordinator is going to fix the problem. I don't want to compare it to like a sinking ship, because I think this program is going in the right way from a trajectory standpoint with recruiting, but it's almost like you're just covering up a hole on a boat with your hands when there's multiple holes elsewhere with how much problems that this team does have starting in that locker room.
What's also true, Tommy, piggybacking off that, and Taylor makes great points all around. I agree with all of them. The other thing to think about too is in the short term, at least this offseason, there's going to be a little fallout in that locker room. So there might be, this is one of those, maybe you got to go down, to get to the light kind of thing. You got to go, things got to get a little bit worse before they get a little bit better from a culture standpoint, because there's going to be players that are devoted to Jay Bateman. There's going to be players that, are really going to be upset about this. There's going to be some players that are going to be really happy about this. And you're going to have some division there in the locker room, for a short while. Then when a new defensive coordinator comes in, we don't know if he's going to want to bring in some of his own position coaches. We don't know what's going to happen, what conversation is going to take place between Mac and that new hire. So we don't know how many more changes there are going to be, but even assuming it's one human being, it's just a coordinator, and he comes in to get all of his assistant coaches that are already on the roster, get them on the same page under his scheme. That new coordinator, there's going to be an adjustment period for the players who are going to be feeling him out too. And there's going to be a little push and pull. There's going to be some tension. There's going to be some pushback and maybe some, uncomfortable things that happen when the new coordinator comes in. So that, that period of discord, I'll call it, or that adjustment period, for lack of a better term, that's going to be extended through spring ball. And there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to get, talk about separating the wheat from the chaff. There's going to be a lot of that going on, and it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of the guys that are still on this roster. And the guys that are, loyalists to Jay Bateman that don't get over that in time for this, when this new coordinator comes in, they might be out the door. They might be demoted. That might create more locker room problems, and it can feed itself until it ultimately, it will ultimately sort itself out. Wheat from chaff, it will eventually clear itself up, and everything will sort of, homeostasis will be, achieved at some point. It's just a matter of how long is that going to take now that you're interjecting somebody new into what is already, like Taylor described, sounds like not a volatile, but a shaky locker room situation.